Hello friends, it's Chromatic Sauce and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be coloring the Hulk. If you saw one of my last videos, you would have seen the lines and the black shading, just a little stipple shading and a little bit of just like solid black right at the tips there. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. But definitely go check out that video. I'll try to leave it in the iCards if I remember. But yeah, check out that video if you haven't, because this is just the color. This one's a little bit longer, so let's just get on into the video, and I'm sure I'll say all the things that I want to say. Okay, so after the black work was done, now I don't need the stencil, thank goodness. Because I think I still needed the stencil for the shading too, because there's parts of the shading that I still had stencil for. I mean, I don't really need the stencil, but I do like it. If I can have a guideline, it's just more accurate, like to the reference kind of thing. That's what I go for. But so for this, I just hopped straight into dark. Man, I don't remember all the way what I did. I think I blended the dark with, I have like some concentrates, some like deeper pigments. So I was like, I want to make sure this is like popping. Like I said in the last video, sometimes I feel like I struggle to get like the saturation that I really want. So in this one, I was really mixing the color. So I might have a hard time remembering all the color blends I used, so forgive me. But I think to start with, I used a deep green mixed with some sort of middle tone green, just for that really dark part. And then I'm kind of going through stages. So I did the dark part, and then I used the middle tone green with a slightly lighter green to do this like second tone. So I kind of was like, I was kind of going like back and forth with how I was doing it, but I was trying to get that blend because I wanted the tube to be like dirty, a little dirty, so you can like mix with the ink that's already in there. So I thought it would do a nicer blend. I haven't done that much. I haven't had so much opportunity to do like realism where you would really like apply that. So I'd really love to do a lot more color realism, but I wanted to utilize the technique here because I thought I could give it a really nice blend with that. So I was really happy with how that turned out. But yeah, so I did the really dark tone. I laid it straight over top of that black to deepen the saturation, because the black, I didn't do it like solid black. It's like stipple shade, like peppery. So sometimes that might leave a little bit of skin. It's just not a solid saturated black. So something's got to be solid and saturated. So I just lay in the color over top so it's saturated with color. And since it has that black layer underneath, it'll be, plus the pigment concentrate thing, it'll be nice and dark. I think it'll heal up nice and dark and keep the contrast with like against his skin tone and against the lighter colors that I used. But yeah, so I just laid that in. I feel like I did the fist and then, I don't know, it was a little bit wrapped around his legs, so I kind of had to go back and forth a little bit. I kind of started with the arm and then I would bounce to the chest. I tended to avoid the face till like last, because like I said in the first one, sometimes like I want to settle in. I wanted to figure out my blends and everything before I really like dove into the face, because there's not as much room. There's not as much wiggle room. There's not as much room for forgiveness in such a tight area. And I definitely don't want the face to be quite as dark as the rest. So we only need a little bit there, but for the rest of the body, I was going through stages just to build up the depth, you know, lay everything over top of that black. Don't just leave that stipple shade with no color. It's a color tattoo. It needs color. It's going to look different if you don't get it solid. So I was just going around like shaping everything, blending, building it out a little bit with the green, not necessarily just leaving it like within the stipple shade. Mostly the dark one kind of did stay within the stipple shade, just giving that saturated punch, a little bit blended out, a little bit lighter. And then you could see like how I already did the fist with that second tone, but then the body, I kind of like finished the whole body with the dark tone, and then I went back in with the second tone. So it doesn't really matter that much. I was going back and forth, dipping into different inks and everything like that. I really like what I was able to achieve with that like darker pigment. I don't really use those a lot. The like, what did I call it? The like, the concentrates. Oh yes, concentrate. Just because whenever I first bought them, my mentor was like, be careful of those concentrates because the ink can spread under the skin or whatever, or like whatever. He probably explained it a lot better and more coherent than that. But so I was like, I bought them and then I was a little bit scared. And then I never really had like a super opportunity to use it because I figured I would use it for realism to like deepen things up where I was like struggling. And then, I don't know, I've been playing around with it. But so I feel like I'm going to start using them to like deepen it up, kind of like use it for color theory. So like, for example, do I have an example? For example, the opposite of like blue in color theory is like orange or red. Technically it's like cyan and magenta are opposites or something like that. But so like blue and red or orange is like the opposite. So if I was to make, for instance, a blue flower, I don't know, I haven't developed like a whole technique around it yet, but for instance, if I was doing a blue flower and I wanted the darks to be really saturated in color, like not cool down too much with solid black, but I wanted that depth and darkness, I could bring the blue and bring my like main blue, like saturated color, tap it into like a red or like a really dark brown color because it has that like orangey tones. Tap it into that, it'll deepen it right up, but then you still have that saturated blue as like the main color. So it's still in the same color family, but it's just bringing it that way. Now that's like, I've never done that in practice with the blue and like a red or a warm tone. I'm just like mumbling all my words together. I'm sure it would work how I imagine. A lot of times people will do shadows like cooler. Wow, I said that weird. People will do their shadows a cooler tone than their highlights. Like, you know, the sun is typically yellow, the sun is warm, so the light reflecting off your face would typically be a warmer, yellowy toned. That's where your warm tones would be. So it's a little bit opposite to use red or a warm color like brown to deepen up a color, because the shadows you might want to be cooler, so the shadows you might want to be that cool tone. So in that case, maybe you, if you wanted to do a blue flower, maybe you would keep it really blue and then the highlights be more like tealy. I don't know, I'd have to play around. And you know, like every tattoo would probably have a slightly different color palette. Like it depends. I don't have a reference right in front of me to be like, what would I do in this? But I'd love to do more flowers. If anyone wants a color realism flower, I'll give you a good deal. I mean, depends when you book, but definitely go check out my website, fill out a booking form. I'd love to give you a tattoo. I'm being so goofy. I'm moving into the next color. I think I'm just, whatever I did was, I think I used mold for one of the colors, like the color mold from Solid Ink. I think I want to say I used that deep green and then medium green for that first blend, because I didn't want to use just the concentrate. I blended it because of what my mentor said. And then when I did the next one, I think I did the medium green. Oh, it wasn't mold. I got this world famous ink from a, what is that called? The thing at Christmas. An advent calendar. The shop had like an advent calendar from like Painful Pleasures or something like that. So there was some ink in there. So I swiped one of the green inks because it was a pretty color and it was a little different. It was a little different than mold. It was kind of close to mold from Solid Ink. I don't remember what it was called though. But it was just a little green. It was sort of a warm tone, sort of like mossy green. That's how I would describe it. But it was from World Famous. So I was like, let me use this. I feel like this feels like it could be in the Hulk range of colors because I wanted it to be a little bit warm. I don't know, playing around with it. So I think I did the deep green, I think it's called deep green to medium green, just the regular green that comes in the like regular solid ink set. And then I mixed the medium green with that world famous green to like bring the tones like a different way. I don't know. So basically every time I did the next stage, I didn't just use the medium green. I was like, I feel like I'm telling you what to do. I have only been tattooing for 3 years, so definitely take everything with a grain of salt. But what I was doing was dipping in the deep green and the medium green, that's a shade. And then for the next tone, medium to that world famous one, the next level. And then I did the world famous to another one, and then I did another blend. So I don't think at any point I might have been. I don't remember every single thing I did, but I don't think at any point I was just using one color. And if I did, the next color was a mix between that color and the next color. And I felt like that was the first time I did that so precisely, because it's the Hulk. His skin tone was just one tone. I wasn't like getting crazy with like undertones everywhere, like a realistic flower. Like this petal might be bluer and this petal might be yellower, I don't know, like, so anytime I've done that, I've tried to like capture the authentic color. But I might try to do color realism more like this, where I'm like, just choose a main color palette and blend it like that, because I feel like that could be pretty too, like a little bit more, a little bit bolder, a little bit less like different tones. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I really liked the blend I was able to achieve by literally blending and mixing the colors in the tube, working in sections, not necessarily doing a small section at a time, but like a third of the tattoo, and then like dipping and blending to the next stage, like using my tube a little bit dirty to like have that stain of the last one. So each one has a little touch of the last one. So the colors really go well together when you blend it like that. But yeah, so each time I'm always overlapping the previous color. I want to make sure, I have my machine a little bit low. I've been trying to be nicer on the skin. I don't know. I always want people to have good heels. No one's ever said they've had like a really horrible heel. Well, someone did. That was my first color tattoo ever. I think she might have had an allergic reaction though. But generally, people don't say that they've had horrible times healing their tattoos or that it heals up badly. But I'm always worried, first of all, like I don't want to give you giant scabs. I don't want to give you a hard time healing because I made a mistake and like overworked the skin. Sometimes scabs happen no matter what you do. But if I can avoid trauma and help you avoid getting a scab, that's why I always recommend the second skin type stuff. Well, because I like the second skin stuff. But I've been playing around with being gentler on the skin. So like that lighter application, in my head, I'm like, I hope it's not patchy. So definitely whenever I go in with I'm trying to make sure it's not patchy. I don't think it is. We'll see. I'll see it in the process. If I gotta touch it up, I'll touch it up. But basically, whenever I blend anything, I'm always blending into the edge of the last one, because the edges are sort of softer anyway, because it's like a blended edge. So you definitely always want to overlap it. So like, see how my fingers are see-through. If I go like this, then it becomes a solid color. Like you have to overlap it a little bit. Or I guess the blend would be a little bit more like this, so that all the blend parts are laid in the previous and last. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It probably doesn't. But I think we might have missed the part where I think my camera cut out. This is the first time that I lost a little bit of footage, because I swear I hit record, but I think the camera just like froze on me. It like froze, and then I was like, oh no, what happened? So let me know if you know what the heck that's about. But I literally was like, oh, it's frozen on a screen from like while I was tattooing earlier, like the beginning of the tattoo. It wasn't even the end of like the frame. It was like the more like yellowy lighter color before this. Like this is the green apple color from Solid Ink. So it was that earlier stage, but just, I think I got a small part of it. But so there was a missing stage that you guys didn't get to see, unfortunately. But yeah, I went over to the camera to like start it up again for the like the camera only films for 30 minutes at a time. So I was going to start it up again, then I was like, it's frozen. The screen's frozen. I was like, oh no, I missed it. At least I can only film 30 minutes at a time. Could you imagine if I was like 3 hours in and I was like, oh, it froze 20 minutes in? That would suck. So I guess I don't mind that it stops every 30 minutes. But yeah, it was frozen and I was like, what do I do? I pressed buttons, nothing happened. I turned the camera off and the screen was still frozen. I had to take the battery out for the screen to not be frozen anymore. Then I put it back in and then I was like, dang. I don't think I have that footage. But then when I download it in my computer, I'm like, I think I had like 5 minutes of it. But anyway, so you missed the part of like I think I blended the world famous with like lime or something from Solid Ink. Like I brought it a lot brighter and a lot warmer. And then to like bring it back, I blended in just green apple. I don't think I mixed the green apple with anything. Just to get a lighter color, just to fill in the skin a little bit more, finish filling in anything that I'm not leaving as a skin break. Because I'm going to blend in some yellow tones over top, but I don't want to leave so much skin, like I want them to be fully green. But I didn't want to add like a lot more dark green, so I was trying to keep it light with this green apple. I feel like it's kind of a paler, it's kind of a pretty green. So I feel like I used, most of my vibrant greens on this one. I didn't use like the mold. I got like yerba. I count that as green. I didn't use those like deeper ones. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Disgusting. Sorry. Oh my gosh. People are probably going to comment like those burps are disgusting, but I will have already uploaded and pre-scheduled like dozens of videos, maybe not dozens, but a lot of videos with burps. So stand by if you've been waiting for the burps to be out of the video. I might just leave them in all the time. It depends how many people, if anyone, comments that they're disgusted. But yeah, after I finished the green apple shade, I had to turn him to get that other side of his little fist. But then I also forgot to mention the pants. I used like a dark blue to layer into that black. No, it was dark purple. It was violet. I used violet. I layered that. So I also was trying to make the hair a little bit of a purple tone too, because purple is a good contrast to the green. I don't think any other character is going to have like a purple like that. So I thought it would make him stand out as his own. And then, so his pants and his hair have that purple color. And then I wanted to give a little bit more of that like chromatic sauce. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what I'm saying. So I wanted to do like a little highlight on it, not just be like just a plain green Hulk. So it'll make sense with the design. I don't know if they're all gonna have the same like yellowy highlight so that they're all like tied together on his lower leg. I haven't fully decided yet. I'm gonna draw that later. Draw it a little bit more later. But I definitely wanted a little bit of a highlight, a little bit more pizzazz. So I just added this yellow. I think this is El Dorado. I'm getting all confused with my colors. Just the standard like warm yellow color. I laid that in so that it would have like a little punch, warm him up a little bit, have that cool like, just a cool like effect. I definitely made sure it was saturated, but I tried to make sure it was like a really blended saturated. Like some parts I just brushed it over the top of like the green apple just to give it a little bit of a tone, like change the tone a little bit. But since the green apple was already there, I didn't want to like overwork the skin. So I just like brushed it in on some spots, but then the spots that were a solid skin break, I did let it be a little bit more solid. I don't know. It's not like an exact science. I left a little edge of his like ear and face so that could have a little highlight. I think I did. I don't know. It's been a couple days. And then after the yellow, I thought blue would be a cool contrast because we got, Elsa's got blue. I feel like Iron Man has like that blue glow. So I gave him white highlights. I filled in the teeth and the little eyes completely with the white highlights. I actually used, I think, mint from Solid Ink. No. I used soft mint, I think that's what it's called, from Fusion Ink, that one that's like basically white. I put that in the teeth and eyes because you don't want to leave a skin break like that. I want to make sure there's pigment in there. It'll hold the mouth and the eyes open a little bit more over time. Still think it'll look good either way over time. But yeah, and I did little highlights in the hair where there was like lighter. I left a little bit of like, not necessarily a skin braid because I had brushed the black and some of those other like purpley tones over top. But it was still a little bit like holidays there, but like I left that there so that I would do that minty color as highlights. And then that's when I went through the whole thing to give a little kind of, not so strict, but a little bit of a low light of the blue, like that teal color to make it pop a little bit. And I really love how it turned out. I really like the color blends I was able to achieve and like the contrast I was able to achieve with this one. I would definitely like to do more characters, maybe not like straight from the comic book. Maybe like characters that are like a little bit, I don't know. I like Avatar: The Last Airbender. What else do I like? I like a lot of things. So definitely comment down below if you'd like to see any flash from me. Definitely head to my website if you would like a design by me, anything, pop culture, flowers, anything like that. I'd love to do it for you. I'd love to play around with color. And I also like black and gray. So if you want black and gray too, I don't only do stipple shading. If you want the mag, you know, you have different ways of doing it. You know, I got different techniques. Check out my other work and my other tattoo talk throughs. Tattoo talk throughs. Yes, that's the first time I said it out loud, like in a video, I think. No, I probably have said it in a video before. It just sounded weird at that moment. But check out my other tattoo talk throughs. If you're somehow made it to the end of this video, but you're tired of hearing me talk, you just want to see the tattoos, definitely come back for the full-length video. I've been trying to post full-length processes of every single video that I'm posting, so all my tattoo talk throughs are going to have a full-length real-time footage that you can speed up to just 2 times speed. Like for instance, I think this is sped up to 8 times speed. So you'll have a little bit more, like it's starting at regular speed. You can speed it up, you can listen to the music or play your own or do anything, but you can like shadow me a little bit, which is weird. No, it's not weird. I'm posting it because it's fun. I think it's fun to share. Anyway, I'm being so weird. Definitely come back to see the rest of this leg. And I love you. See you in the next one. Bye. Sometimes I do it, but I don't hit my mouth. But then, like, this time, you got full lip. Okay, that sounded so weird. You got full lip. Okay, I don't know why I said it again. Bye.